Yo,
Hey man, what's up?
what's going on, brother? How are
Hey, good. It's looking really nice outside. Where are you at?
you? Yeah, no. I'm in Bacchus Marsh with my fiance. She studies medicine,
All
so
right.
she's placed out here at the hospital. So they're not allowed to go back to Melbourne when, like, even before the lockdown.
Yeah,
So I moved up. I moved up here with her with the dog just to hang out with her until this all blows over. So
yeah. Is back as
yeah,
much in Victoria?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Nice. Where you based?
Right now I'm in Camberwell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Good
So
on.
I'm living out
How
here
you
with
doing, man?
four other students. Yeah, I'm doing really well. Yeah, Easter was good. Um, did a little Easter hunt for my housemates, just trying to
Yeah, sick.
keep the mood up and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
how's your
yeah.
Easter, man?
Yeah, good. We were just here, like Christina has a housemate here, so we had like a big brunch together and then a big dinner.
Yeah.
And then we zoomed our families and did like a trivia
Oh
like
yeah.
tournament over Zoom. So it was pretty cool. It was good. It was a bit different, but no, yeah, made the most of it, which is good, like still good
Yeah.
to see people like that. So yeah, just adapting with the times.
Yeah. And then are you like
Yeah.
are you working at the moment? Or is
Yeah,
it still a
so
public
I'm
holiday today
I'm
or
Yeah, so it's a public holiday today. But I've been working from home for 6 weeks now, I think.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I actually finish up at Deakin in 2 weeks.
Oh no way.
Um, yeah, so I actually signed a contract with a startup, and I was meant to go to them, and then they had to freeze that because of like the stuff started going crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so after 2 weeks, I have a bit of time just to myself until they work out what's going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So picked up I volunteered my time with an NGO when I finished, based in
Yeah.
Canada. So I'll be doing some work for them with content, and then there's like an underwear brand, like a sustainable underwear brand that I'm working with in Melbourne as well, doing some work for them. So yeah, just trying to make the most of the time once I finish up at Deakin until yeah, my other
Yeah.
company works out what they're doing. So yeah.
Mm. No, that's exciting, man. I mean, a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new things to get
Yeah.
into.
What are you
Yeah.
doing? What do you do with yourself?
So I've still got one more unit to go with Deacon, but that's obviously like on hold because I still want to use that to hopefully travel to Vietnam, hopefully
Yeah.
to do an internship. So
Yeah, cool.
outside of that, right now it's doing like mainly video marketing, like social media marketing. I actually lost like most of my like income the last
Yeah,
month or
because of
so.
all this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, like most of my client work, which was tough to take at the start, but like you just got to keep going. So
For
right now
sure.
I'm doing videos for a few real estate
Yeah.
agents. Um, Also just trying to reach out to like local business owners, see if they need any free video content to get them
Yeah.
to pick themselves back up. But yeah, and then other than that,
100%.
just trying to connect with more people. Just hopefully try use this time to. Um, I really want to improve my writing. I think I mentioned that to you before. I want to
Yeah.
pick up on a bit of more
Yeah, yeah.
more like creative sort of stuff. Because I know you're like huge on like
Yeah.
content and like you
Yeah.
do writing, photography. Like you were doing some freelance stuff like the last few years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I freelanced for a while when I left school. While I was in uni, I freelanced and traveled for a few years there.
yeah,
So I was, yeah, traveling, and then I was just pitching like magazines and just like doing that, and
yeah,
then working at Coles just to make some bread, and then
yeah, yeah,
yeah, doing that. So yeah, I managed to work with some pretty cool brands, and then like managed to leverage those brands later down the road to get like my job currently. So I started as a writer at Deakin, and
yeah,
then like I've just worked my way up, and then so now it'll be yeah, it'll be going back to that. I think the stuff I did previously, which was yeah, just pitch brands again, and which is kind of exciting, kind of cool. I'm excited to do that again.
yeah. How
But yeah, no,
how do you like reach out to like those medium to larger brands?
you just So this is what I did, and I think it works perfectly. Is you just cold email people.
Yeah,
Like I emailed people I had no right emailing. Like it was just like you never know who's gonna lay eyes on it.
yeah,
Um, uh, when I was doing photography, I remember I was just emailing the agents of artists that like were just doing shows, and I just do that because that's how I started out. My brother was in a band, and they were like in the local Melbourne scene,
Mm.
and they were like, and they did pretty good. And so that's when I started like getting gigs with other people and shooting for them. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, I just realized like, if you just email people and see how you go, you never know what might happen.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just had a list of like all the publications that I really wanted to work with, but also
Yeah.
within the realm of like what's reasonable, right? Like as much as I wanted to do work for Nat Geo, it's like doing your research and understanding Nat Geo has a very like select closed off group of people they work with, and it takes time to break into that. So for me, it was just like coming up with a list of people, getting all the right emails, and then just like pitching them. But like pitching them with actual ideas, not just to be like, hey, we'll have a chat or whatever. Give them something up front that they can see what like value you're providing.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it went from there. So yeah, it was good. It was interesting, like an interesting process, because you learn how to really craft what you were trying to say.
Yeah. And was that just you being down in the trenches and refining your outreach strategy, message by message? And like,
yeah, I think it was for me, like I have a real problem with kind of like the word strategy, and not because just you used it, but because like the world that we work in, but also the world that I work in, it's like people use that almost as like as long as you have a strategy, then it all should work out. For me, I didn't really think of it as like, this is my outreach strategy, my distribution strategy, my publication strategy. It was like, if you were just doing, you were always refining, and you were learning as you were going. So if I reflect upon it now, like I could definitely tell you, like, you know, I had a minimum, like every week I would pitch people. Every day I would write a certain story. Like it was, but it wasn't something I sat down at the very beginning and was like, yeah, cool, this is how I'm going to execute on it. It was more, you had to do it. If not, what was the other alternative? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And so, yeah, I had the list of publications, and then you build rapport with like the editors and stuff like that. So like with Huffington Post, their thing is like, we don't pay you because you can leverage our brand, which is like, for most people, they would be like, nah, you know, I'm not doing that. But for me, it was like, well, they're like one of the biggest publishing brands in the world. Like you wouldn't. So I was on their roster of kind of like freelance bloggers or whatever. Yeah. And then yeah, they were like, you can pitch as much as you want, but we won't accept all of it. And so with that, it was almost permission to be like, cool, I'm just going to flood you guys with stuff. Yeah. And then you take what you want. And then the other stuff that you don't take, I'll self-publish. Yeah. So it was those kind of relationships I was building that kind of serves me better in the long run. Yeah. Rather than looking for those paychecks. Which I get, you know, if you have rent to pay and you need to feed yourself, obviously, like that's still real and still important. Yeah. But I think people misunderstand the long play here, which is like, if you find the right people to work with, you can leverage that in the long run. Yeah. And yeah, like my writing for Huffington Post is something I still reference even after the fact now. So, but yeah, I didn't have a strategy as such. It was more just setting myself targets of like, cool, if you really want to do this, you're going to have to do it consistently. Yeah. Yeah.
No, definitely. I see you're like huge on like leadership right now, especially like among younger people, and like your headline, "Too Young to Lead." Can you explain a bit about that? Because that's like that's pretty like interesting. Yeah.
So when I started at Deakin, I started as like a content writer. Then I became like a digital editor. And then there was this need to start a content marketing platform in the research division. That's where I work. And in the process of like heading that up, it was a matter of like setting the boundaries of like what people expected of you and what you were meant to do. Because I think as a young person in the workplace, and especially as like a colored ethnic young person as well, the challenges that come with that are people view you as too inexperienced to be able to pull off a certain role. And so when I was kind of like pushing all these ideas, because obviously I had worked with all these brands and I saw who'd done it right and who'd done it wrong. Like Huffington Post did it super wrong. Like they closed a year after they opened an Australia office. And goes back to your point of like, they didn't kind of have the foresight to plan ahead, but then also didn't have kind of that internal awareness to kind of look at what was happening and go, what's the strategy moving forward? How does the strategy change? Yeah. And so I was in all these meetings and having these conversations, and then like saying that I was open to taking up that role, you know, as the head of content or whatever, and driving that change, because the people that I worked with just didn't have that experience. And there's always like a pivotal moment. I'm sure you've had plenty of these and plenty more moving forward. It's like, there's a moment where you go, oh, it's me. Like, this is like my turn now to take the lead and do something here.
Yeah.
And the response was good from the people that supported me, but then also from the outside, it was like, you're too young to do this. You're too young to do that. Like, how would you know? And so that is like a cheeky, cheap, just a shot at people that were just like, you were too young to be a leader and stuff like that. And because for me, it's not so much like your age, it's your experience. Which is why I like what you're doing. Like, you know, like it takes a lot of like self-awareness to be able to go, hey, I'm going to do this stuff for free, because you're thinking about the long game. You're thinking about, what's the experience building here? And for me, that headline in my LinkedIn is like kind of like paying homage to the work I've done to get to this point.
I think that'd make
I'm sure.
I think that'd make a really good hashtag. You could get like a really good.
So I hashtag it. Like, I just want, because I know the people, and this sounds really like, but I'm super competitive by nature as well. And so it's just like, cool, you told me I couldn't, so I did this. And, you know, and a big reason why I'm leaving is also because like I'd set out everything that I said I would do. And then also being kind of like humble enough and aware enough that like there's only a certain amount that one person can do before you need someone else to come in to be able to take it to the next level. Because you just got to build upon everyone else's success. And so this year for me was like looking for the new opportunity to grow and in a different kind of space. Obviously it hasn't worked out to plan because all this stuff has happened, but then now the opportunity to go back and to connect with creatives like you, to do like free work or like gig work again is also exciting. Like, it's more creative than if you worked for a brand. So but that headline is like, that's just my thing. It's just like, you know, to everyone that was like, you can't do that, I'm like, well, I did it now, and now I'm also gonna just like fuck off.
I love that.
I mean, I don't know, because people message me all the time. They're like, you know, you're not too young to be a leader and stuff like that. Oh, don't misconstrue it. Like, I think anyone who has those traits can be a leader regardless of the age. They just have to have the experience. Like you, but then also don't get confused. I don't think just anyone can be a leader. And if you look at the political landscape, like right now, with all this stuff going on, it shows and it speaks to like, well, who is actually going to be a good leader and who's not. But that headline is my jam.
No, I love that, man. But do you feel like especially like a lot of the young people that I speak to, like even myself, like even a year ago, I would have never been proactive enough or like to put myself out there, especially like like getting on LinkedIn, getting in front of the camera, like I feel like obviously you can build those like leadership qualities, but like what would your advice be to like younger people like myself, how to like build self-awareness and how to like really take it upon yourself to inspire others around you, try to lead?
For sure.
Especially like right now, like what can young people be doing to like lead or make a slight impact?
I think it's a tough one, because like we've all grown up. I mean, I'm 25, right? So like I've like had the privilege of like living in a world post like digital, but also pre-digital, and seeing what that shift looks like. And for young people, I think leadership, influence, authority, thought leadership, all those kind of things comes with this weird like cloak of you have to be able to influence thousands, millions, you know, like if you don't have a large audience, why talk? And the thing that like I think young people have to understand is that there is a distinct responsibility when you're taking up this idea of you want to be a leader compared to you want clout. Those are two very different things, right? And I only say that because it's like one of those things where when push comes to shove, are you willing to put other people before yourself? Because that's what leadership is. Leadership is service, right? I think, and having worked in industry and freelance, it's like people view leadership as almost a badge of like, cool, if I get that, role, that title, it means more money, more influence, all that kind of stuff. Whereas you're forgetting that when you make that step up, suddenly it goes from you're responsible for yourself to, wow, you're responsible for, like in my case, I got 7 people, and that, and to people, like if you had 7 followers on Instagram, suddenly that doesn't matter as much. But when you have 7 people relying on you for direction, for guidance, for strategy, like suddenly you realize like that even one human life looking at you for direction is a lot to carry, is a lot to bear. And so my thing for young people would be like, really get clear on like, what is it that you want when it comes to this idea of leadership and influence? Is it you want to be famous, which nothing wrong with that, but get clear on that. Because being famous has very different steps to being a genuinely good leader. And this is my own belief, but I'm sure that the literature and other people would say the same, is like being a leader means you genuinely care about people and you take that responsibility wholeheartedly on. Wanting to be famous and having 1 million followers and all that kind of stuff, which I see people do as well. That's very different. And the steps are very different to get there. But the self-awareness thing that you mentioned before is like, you have to be very honest with yourself. Like, are you willing to do the things that will separate you from the rest? Like you're doing, which is why I want to jump on a call with you, right? Because I was impressed, like all the stuff that you've been doing. Like, I think it almost reminded me of like when I started, I was like gung-ho and stuff like that. And like, you need that. And I think people underappreciate that. So I wanted to let you know that I appreciate that, even though I don't really know you, like I can see it from a distance and I can appreciate the energy. But self-awareness is a hard thing. You need to have the right, mix of experiences to be able to get you to that point. Whether it's like you've had your own personal struggles or like you've seen your parents put in the work and you understand what that's like, I think there's a lot that comes with it. But I think everyone knows when you're lying to yourself, it doesn't sit right. But some people are better at like pushing that down and quashing that feeling. I think let that like play with that feeling and sit with that feeling and ask yourself, why do you feel this when you do a certain thing, or you do, or you choose to not like offer free work, for example. Like, are you doing that because you genuinely don't think doing free work is the right way to go? Or is it because you go, I think I'm worth $600, but where does that worth come from? Have you actually had the track record to prove that? So I think the self-awareness element to your question is the hardest bit, because I think everyone's going to have their own way of getting there. But for you, like, how has that process look like?
Definitely, I think second year of uni is when I just started to really like acknowledge the sort of like thoughts I was having, like started questioning where I was like headed. If I continued going down the path I was going in the second year of my uni, where would it leave me like a few years or like a couple of years into the future? Even just like 1 year into the future, where would I be? And I was just asking myself, do I really, is this the person I really want to be striving to be? I was just asking some like really like really deep questions, and then
for sure.
And then I like just started thinking what's that inner like inkling, what's like that burning like passion that I want to be pursuing, where money wouldn't be a huge factor, where I'd be willing to put in like free work and all that time. And then that's when I started like tapping back into like my creative interests, so like video, and then like it was a really cool experience, because I started just like using all like these free resources online, watching heaps of YouTube videos, started using social media for how it should be used, to actually connecting with people, instead of just like chasing clout, like you said. And then, I just started putting out a bit more like creative content. And then through that, I started like meeting other creators that I didn't know were out there, like who were same age as me, similar position. And then just like finding that like, that tribe was like so yeah, so yeah, so rewarding. So and then
Yeah.
and then that started turning into work, and then I started getting paid for a few videos here and there, and then it was just like a what
Nice.
what yeah.
I love it. So what are you studying now?
So I'm studying marketing, majoring in
Yeah, yeah.
marketing at Deakin,
Were you always
and
studying that?
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Fortunately enough, like going into uni, I didn't actually know what I wanted to do, but
Mm,
thankfully I picked marketing just purely because I felt there was room to move in terms of like creativity, like and
sure,
communication.
sure,
Even though I'm not like the strongest communicator, I felt like marketing is all about communication, and if I can leverage my um, creative skills with marketing, then I felt like it could be pretty rewarding.
100%.
Yeah, and yeah, fortunately enough, it's sort of worked out well. But yeah, and then the last year, I'm just trying to make the most of my last year in uni. Try to travel as much as I can because there's obviously a lot of opportunities being a university student in Australia.
Yeah,
So glad I'm like born and raised in Australia because um,
yeah,
yeah. So I'm just trying to make most of those opportunities.
for sure.
Hopefully use my last unit to travel again. Do like a
Yeah,
2 week
nice.
internship. Yeah. Because
Good one.
yeah, like ever since I've like leveraged that more and just like traveled, um, man, like that whole perspective shift and meeting
Mm,
like different people from different cultures.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just yeah,
No, I love that. That's awesome. I
yeah,
think that's so important. I think travel is super important for that. Because that's, I mean, yeah, like I said, that's all I did.
mm,
Um, and it was good for me as well because I did criminology and politics.
mm,
Um, and, and because I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and then, obviously that didn't happen, but it was good to be able to travel and meet different people because that's, yeah, it made me realize that was what I was passionate about. That's how my storytelling started.
yeah.
Um, so I think it's important to take those moments for yourself as well, and hopefully when all this blows over, dude, you can get around
Oh,
and
100%. I'm dying to
yeah,
travel, man. I'm
different
dying to get
industry.
out there.
Yeah. Have you done much travel before?
Yeah, so in I got back from South Korea end of January actually. So just before
Damn.
things started to kick in, like with the whole
Yeah
19. So pretty
yeah
lucky
yeah
with that. And then this is all through Deakin as well. So I went to South Korea, Malaysia, China, and then I also did a Fiji trip. Um, uh, like it was funny because I went like when I started putting myself out there a bit more. I went to like a few networking events, and there was this one event in RMIT, and I spoke to a lot of like social enterprises. Like you're pretty involved
yeah
with like NGOs
yeah
and
yeah
social enterprises, and I
yeah
spoke to one of the founders of a like a education like children's education foundation sort of thing, and they
Hmm.
like work on building schools in local communities in Fiji. And I
Yeah,
just told
cool.
him what I did, and he he wanted like more young people to get involved because obviously there's like younger children especially are able to like speak up with people similar to their age. So
Yeah
he
yeah
was so he's looking for more students to get involved. So yeah, I ended up going on a trip to them, um, and like created some slides for them for their
Sick.
like events. Did some videos. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah
And then just
nice,
stuff
dude.
like
Yeah
and stuff like that just makes me realize it's just like a simple conversation with people.
yeah
Just by opening that up can like lead to like such amazing opportunities.
yeah
And then just like I had that moment where I was just standing on like the beach, and I was just like, um, yeah, that just one conversation led me here, and that was like
yeah
pretty crazy.
yeah that's awesome.
Mm.
I love that.
And you said you sort of manage a team of creatives, videographers. How's that for you?
I
Like
love it. I
challenging?
love
Yeah,
it.
how you finding that?
I love I oh I live for that, and I think that's the thing I'll miss the most when I leave is like,
Yeah.
the last couple of years have really taught me, and I guess that's why I speak so strongly about it, the difference between like a leader and a manager.
Yeah.
Right. It made me fully understand what it means to be a leader, like this idea of being in service to other people. So yeah, no, I haven't found it challenging at all. In fact, I really love it. Like I think being able to be part of people's creative process, to be able to give them the space to do what they need to do, but also be present enough that if they ever need anything, that you can be there to help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been awesome. So we have a videographer. There's like 3, 4, 5 riders on any given day, like because they're all casual, they come in and out and do stuff and work. And then we have a social media person that started at the start of the year. And then obviously we have a couple of designers that work across the wider team. But yeah, I've enjoyed every bit of it, and I think it's been the best thing. I think my whole experience at Deakin, having come up, being able to like say that I helped lead this team and craft the body of work that we've done. Yeah, my proudest achievement at the organization, that's for sure. But
yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I haven't experienced any challenge as well, because like also being able to select the right people to join your team was super clear to me very early on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think culturally making sure I always picked people based on culture rather than like their degree or their supposed like stature in the industry and stuff like that. But yeah, 100%.
How did you find that? How did you find that like space where you could give them that creative freedom, but as well as making sure they're on the right track? Like, what are some like actionable like ways you can suggest?
So first on, I think you would have seen in my conversation with Demi, it's like over indexing on trust is massive, right? So it's just saying to them, and this is what I guess all leaders should do, is like you set the direction, but how people get there, you give them the opportunity to find their own way. And that's because not everyone works the same way, right? Like I don't particularly love working in an office, but some of my staff love like that office environment, like the busyness of it. They love that. So that's like a very basic example. And you've seen this whole shift of like remote work. Not everyone will love remote work. And so when people like productivity will go down, I mean, it could go down or it could go up. For 89% of my staff, when I instituted remote work, the productivity went up, if anything. But for some people that isn't their jam and they need to be around people. That's how they get their ideas. That's how they get the juices flowing. But I think allowing them the trust to be able to work it out for themselves, giving them enough time to do so. It's not saying like, cool guys, do what you want, but in a week I need to be able to see something to show for it. I think it's a lot harder when you're dealing with humans. Like you have to be able to judge for yourself and know deep down, like, all right, this person's not really performing at the optimum, this person is, and stuff like that. But that's from cultivating a relationship with them. Another big one, I think, is treating them as people isn't important. It seems obvious, but I think for big organizations, that's very difficult because, you're looking after the bottom line. Like you want to make sure that there's no waste financially. And I understand that completely, but I think a bit more human-centered kind of business approaches and business structures, I think we'll see productivity and the bottom line actually go up and perform a lot better. So what I do is like, I make myself as available as possible to them. So, my job literally went from I started as a creative to now I'm kind of a leader, but most of my time is all meetings and stuff like that. I do very little creative, but I think what I can do for them is what I've done is I do one-on-ones with them every week. So, and those one-on-ones have no time limit. You know how some people are like, cool, I want to get out of here in 15 minutes. Some people want to get out in an hour. And that's the whole trust thing, which is like, I'll sit down with you, give you my time. You want 15 minutes, you get 15 minutes. You need 2 hours, you can have 2 hours. But most importantly, the subjects that we talk about in those meetings aren't related to work. Because this idea that people's personal lives and professional lives don't meld is not true. Like something that happens to you at home affects how you are on set at a shoot. You know what I mean? And in the same way, my staff are like, if they had a fight with their partner, that's going to affect how they feel at work, and it affects how, what they produce and the level of quality of their creative. And that's not me saying like I'm their therapist, just being like, cool, let's chat about whatever. But it's saying, if you just need to say things to put them out there, then let's have that conversation too. And then if you ask for advice, then let's have that conversation too. It's really saying to them, I'm seeing you as a person rather than just another number on the books, you know, to balance my budget and to get the work done. And these are like such, you know, like, and as I'm saying them to you, and as I've said them to multiple people before, it's common sense. But the thing is, this kind of common sense doesn't prevail in those environments, purely because culturally we've put making money, you know, above everything else. Whereas I think with everything going on now, there's going to be broader conversations about, you know, why we haven't worked from home before, why structurally we didn't adapt as quickly, all these kind of things. Those conversations will start happening. But I think those two things, over-indexing trust and then treating your staff as people, is vitally important if you want to be able to move in that direction. But it goes the same for young people who are just like yourself, you're freelancing and stuff like that. And that advice applies even if you don't have any staff, right? Because it's how you treat the client, it's how you treat your suppliers if you're in that business. Like, you need people giving you stuff and helping you sort out the back end. It's, you know, it's how you treat your parents, your family. Like, I think these are fundamental human things that we can't forget. And yeah, I stand by those things in the same way that I do it when I consult on digital strategy. It's like, treat your audience as people. You know, I don't offer any tactics, or like, sure, you can boost posts and you can throw money behind things, but what really makes your brand enduring is how you treat the attention that's given to it and the people that give you that attention. So yeah, I stand by those two things the biggest, you know, like, and people get confused when you go and consult and you say, yeah, these are the two things that I think you should do better. And they're going, well, where are the tactics and where's the strategy and like what, you know? And the thing is, like, if you can't do the human things properly, no amount of framework and money and stuff can mask that. And yeah, I think the earlier people understand that, further you'll go. And that's just, my belief.
Internet's starting to cut out a bit. But yeah, I'll start to wrap it up there. But would you have any final words, any pieces of advice for young people, what they could be doing to optimize their time and make the most of the current situation, upskill, reach out to people, how to like lean into leadership right now?
I think yeah. So I think for me, a few things. Now's a perfect time to start reading books again. You know, like, really dig deep and read anything and everything. I think educate yourself on the things that you didn't think you'd be interested in reading about. Because if this has shown anything, the world is more interconnected than we realize. So yeah, read up on a wide variety of things. And reach out to the people that you love, and also reach out to local businesses. I think, you know, like I said earlier on, a big reason why I wanted to have a chat with you, because I think you're a good example for other young people. Share your talent. Like, it's not just for you to hold on to. You have a responsibility to kind of share that gift around. And I think you deserve a huge props on that, and I think other people can learn the same. And I think it's a massive time to get clear on what it is you want, right? Like, you know, not many people are clear on that. People are, like we've mentioned, chasing clout, chasing money and stuff like that. Like, what is it that will make you kind of wake up and go, cool, I'm happy to be doing that today. And that's the thing about being young, is you have the luxury. You don't have the mortgage, you don't have the kids, you know, there's none of those pressures. So I think this time is the perfect time to read, to reach out to people that need it, and then to get clear on, what is it that you want to be doing moving forward post whatever this world is right now.
100%. Damn, man, this conversation was hella insightful, man. I appreciate taking the time out.
Of course.
Really appreciate all the kind words you said so far, and I really hope we can stay in touch, and all the best with your future endeavors, man.
You too, brother. You too. I was going to say to you, and I don't know if you want to stop recording for this, but I did some work with an NGO in Vietnam. So I'd love to link you up with them, because they're always looking for young creatives to help them out with some work.
Oh, always open for opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll link that up, and then like if you're ever in the area and you want to link up and do some stuff together while all this stuff is going on, and if you need help with writing, I'm happy to kind of like talk you through it. I don't know how good a mentor I'll be, but like if you ever wanted to chat about that, more than happy to do it.
For sure. And likewise with any video content, if you need any help. For sure,
dude. Yeah. I'm terrible at video. I suck at like.
Bro, I'm terrible at writing, and I know I have to do it.
So, we'll leverage for sure.
For sure. All right, sweet.
Thank you, brother.
All right, cool. Take care. Stay safe.
See you later, bro.
All right, cheers.
Chat soon.